shift into this new trading week now that Labor Day weekend is over. I did start this a few minutes early, so I'm not supposed to start for another 10 minutes, but I decided to start it now. Um, if there's not a lot of people in here during the live itself, a lot of people will see it after, so I'm not too worried about it. A lot of people started school today, as well as my son's in his first day of elementary. So hopefully that goes good. He was good when we dropped him off, so hopefully that'll go good. But getting into the chart. So what we're looking at here is it's not just with XRP. We have to look at it from a whole landscape of XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, the total three, and so on and so forth. And we want to just have a certain setup here to see if we're going to get a rejection here, because what we did overnight, pushing up, having XRP need at $2.82, that in some aspects could be looked at as trying to back test a breakdown, but we'll look at that deeper. I'll say hi to some of you as you come in. Amanda, welcome in, along with Joseph Euler. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6+ months with the XP Predictor. Timmy, good morning. Crypto Cooter, welcome in. Oh, I already said hi to Crypto. Oh, no. Crypto Cooter, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army 6+ months with the XP Predictor. And also a very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram. I thank you so much for your help. Mosey here, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge, along with Mark Taston. Good morning to you both. Mark Korf, welcome in. Bearded Viking, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your second month with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. Along with Dan Marginow as well on his second month. Thank you both for that. Jay Freemix, good morning. Chris Orr, welcome in. Big Dog, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your third month, plus with the XRP Meteor. Trading with J-Ride, good morning, along with the Gatman. Thank you both for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badges. I appreciate that greatly. Bearded Viking, yes, it was nice to see silver close over $40. It's currently at, as mining stocks open, so the mining stocks are pretty much between 3 and 5% up or so. Some of them are a little bit lower, but silver's at $40.27. Gold made a new high, sitting up there around $3,482, but significantly overbought now in gold and silver, which isn't a telltale sign, but there is going to be a correction. I think silver in particular, a lot of people are going to get excited. I really could see a very quick retest at $39.55, or I'm still looking at this. We never came back, and this is where people can get in trouble by buying it after a big jump, and then they're buying it, and then it ends up they're in the consolidation. So it's either going to hold $39.55, or we could see a significant come down. Like, just because it broke out doesn't mean that we're just going to go straight up. It's just if we can hold $39.55, then silver is going to have a higher level of consolidation instead of just breaking right through, and back testing a pattern. So a lot to be optimistic about. And as we've been finding out with the gold and silver miners as of late, even though the price of gold and silver corrects, the miners are so undervalued that they've been going up still, even on correction. So it's going to be interesting to see. Let's see. Mark Korf, thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. That is incredibly generous. Thank you so much for your support. Like, seriously, that means a lot. It definitely helps with what I do. I like putting out all my content for free, and a big part of why I've always been able to do that is because I have a very supportive group. There's, I think, 258 members currently in Tom's Army, but I mean, it's fallen off a little bit as we got a little bearish, which is okay, But I do appreciate everybody who pays it forward. I really, really do. I'm just sharing the information with some because, just in case it didn't get pushed out. But thank you so much for that, Mark. We're going to get into these charts, though, because XRP did come up to that $2.82 area, which is substantial, how it came up there. Because if we're looking for, and both charts are a little different. I gave it some grace. You guys remember over the weekend we talked about coming all the way down towards 276, just because that gives the pattern the most grace, and that's where it's probably going to end up in the make it or break it zone at some point. If we look at it like this, we can see we're a little bit below it if we go up a little higher from just the wicks. So that's why I said 282 I really would like to have, but you don't want to fall below 276. We're already in that make it or break it zone because technically we're under that 278 support. So now we're just going to get into this deeper. We've got a lot to talk about, and whoever joins this morning and going forward, You know, it's not, we're going to be very beneficial to each other, not just me sharing you the information, but the back and forth. You're going to start to notice, though, people are going to start not showing up as much when the prices continue to go down. This is where we get to that point of contention of why are people really trying to be involved? Are you here because you think you're going to make a quick dollar? Or are you here because you want to get the best opportunity? This is where a lot of people start to disappear. Plus, I mean, a lot of people have the first day of school, so this isn't the most ideal time for people to be in here, but I think we'll be able to have a more tight-knit conversation here. Matthew Ramelli, welcome in. John Page, good morning. Mosey here, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Arm for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Shane, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Arm for your second month with the Dusty Autos Crypto News. And I love seeing all the stuff you do in the Telegram. You showed so much stuff letting people understand how to buy certain assets that are not exactly the easiest outside of exchanges, and it's a blessing. Shane, we technically, I mean, we can't say we got a firm rejection yet at 283. I mean, it's in the micro, but yeah, artificially right now, it wasn't the best sign on a Tuesday morning, coming up overnight with the Eurozone and the Asian markets, and then when the U.S. woke up, coming back down. But we haven't given anything technically back yet. In fact, we've got to look at the short term when it comes to the MACD and the stochastic, when it comes to stochastic RSI. Because we are weather oversold in the smaller time frames, but we'll go over all of this. Craig Carlson, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6+ months with the XP Predictor. Alex, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Wales, Josie Wales, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. And I appreciate seeing all of your stuff in the Telegram as well. A lot of people in here with the Telegram stuff. It's good to see you guys at least expressing yourselves, even if it can ruffle some feathers. You know, sometimes we're trying to at least be as transparent as possible. So let me do the intro, and then we're going to go right into the XRP chart. Good morning. 9:26 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. I mean, it's not as great of a state as it was when I was a kid. It's still a beautiful state, but it's very much been taken over by political nonsense. UK Phil, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Frankie Fresh, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. And with your significant other as well. I appreciate both of you watching. Ben Graham, welcome in. So XRP right now here, and Shane spoke about it. I seen it in the comment. So if we're looking at the $2.83 area, yeah, that was a rejection area. But as we've talked about, we expanded this out a little bit over the weekend so that we could see the full length of this instead of just coming up here to the wick and saying, hey, because technically before we created this further drop down, you're absolutely right if you're thinking this, because this is the truth. We actually did create a lower low from this perspective, but we give it the benefit of the doubt and say we never came all the way down to support, right? So we didn't know. But now you clearly, no matter how you look at this, made a lower low. Like there's been a lower low made here, no matter how you look at it. So you invalidate a pennant flag setup, because a pennant flag, well, you haven't invalidated it, but technically you're looking, so in a pennant flag, you have lower highs and higher lows successfully after a breakup during the consolidation. What you're trying to do is make a higher high before you put in that first lower low after a setup. And the reason for that is because a lower low could insinuate the fact that now you've got bearish pressure, and now that lower low means you're breaking down instead of breaking out with a higher high. Now, we're back above that, and this is why it's so important to make sure where this level is. You know, so we have to take this evidence of right here, because that's where I believe it tried to make that next set. It was still technically a higher low. If you look at it in a higher time frame even, you can take out the consolidation above and say this was nothing more than still consolidatory, and then it came down and made this. But once it came through here, it clearly made a newer low. Even when you look at this, it might have put in a reversal here in the daily, so we've got to pay attention here. Big time. Because generally now bearish cross looks like it could happen. In the daily, the next level would be a drop down to, and it's ironic, would be to the 200-day at 250. The technical drop down points to 250 and a micro drop. And that used to be an old fair value gap that we can debate all we want. But back in the past, and this was a long time ago, remember, and the pattern's been building out for like 6 months, it doesn't mean any different to me. That is still a level. You can call it a fair value gap or not. You can call it weak. You can call it whatever you want. But that level is still going to play out. And if it breaks below it, you've got 236 below, and then it's down to $1.92. So call it whatever you want. Label it however you want. Call me a fool if you wish. But keep that as a tool in your arsenal, because it's going to be a very big level if it breaks it. Make no mistake about that. That's basically your buffer zone if 270 doesn't hold. Because that's a significant breakthrough if it does. And then you're talking about, well, now why would it break down? Well, because there's a back test at the cup and handle if you take it from the top wick. So that's the issue you could be coming into here. Yeah, I was not on live yesterday. Actually, I did an update yesterday, like a shorter one, but I decided to take a day. You know, there's been a lot of back and forth and a lot of all this, you know, I've been doing this since March 24th of 2021. And some days, like my son had to start school today, special needs. So there was a lot of stuff going on yesterday with him as well, because we were trying to get him ready and just have a good day. And he actually did good on drop off. So it's very nice. Grandma was here with us. She spent the night last night, which was nice. And then she went with us this morning. She's going to be with us during pickup. And then we have one more food therapy for the last time for a couple months until he gets into the routine. So he's got a busy day today, but, you know, it's nice to have Grandma tagging along. And he had so much fun with Grandma yesterday, playing outside and inside, and just a lot of fun. But yeah, so I decided last night, instead of doing a live, I was just going to not. And then it kind of gets us fresh for today, so... but I still wanted to put out a piece of content yesterday. That's why I did what I did in the morning. But, you know, it was one of those days. Let the market do what it was going to do. And now today we come back. And I'm starting to do shorts, too, like in a different way. I put out an XRP short this morning. And then after I dropped my son off at school with Julie and my mom, when I was doing a walk, I decided to do a Bitcoin short. So what I think I'm going to do every day, and I want to hear your opinion, Bitcoin or XRP short when I first get up, and then obviously whatever content I do during the day. But then I'm also going to do a Bitcoin short sometime in the morning, and sometime during the day I'm also going to do an Ethereum short, I think. I think that's what I'm going to start doing, because I did a Bitcoin one today, and I don't care how many people watch it. I just like getting that information out, and then I can split it up between XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum in 3 different shorts. So I'd love to hear everybody's opinion on that as I continue talking. AUB, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. In my father's kitchen, good morning. Adam Carrillo, welcome in. Hit that like button, he says. Absolutely. John Bugathorpe, good morning, friend. I'm so glad to see you in here. Kawabunga and G-Stock, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. And that is my face superimposed on there from 2019, circa 2019, a slightly chubbier face on there. Bearded Viking, I disagree, Mom. I was 260 pounds in high school. That identifies me as fat. I believe in the day they called me fat ass. You fat ass. Yep, that's what they said. That's frowned upon now because we're politically correct, but that's what I was called growing up. But now I'm, I don't know, 170, 175, so that all worked out now. I know. That might have been the problem, no. Let's see. So I think it would gain you. So Bearded Viking said, I think it would gain you more traction with others looking at the space. They always look at it into Ethereum and Bitcoin. I agree. I do agree with that. Because I do. No, you're fine, Mom. I do talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum through the lives and stuff, but at least during the day, I usually try to focus on XRP during the day.
I mean, Julie.
Frankie Fresh says, time on days that you do only one live, I would love for them to be in the evening when everybody's out of work. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm definitely the 6 o'clock live is supposed to be where it's at. Today I did a live earlier too because, I don't know, I felt like it was a good time to do it, especially where the chart was at with my son being in school. But I have to do a virtual meeting today with my son's school at like 3 for a little bit because of his feeding through a tube. So tomorrow they do that for the first time. So we're just going to go over some last minute things. So But I like the 6 o'clock live, so we're going to have one tonight. I mean, assuming everything goes good, you can always look forward to the 6 o'clock live. Like, that's my favorite time to do it, right after dinner. And we get to do it an hour before the close by the time I get off. So you get an hour to watch how it plays out going into the daily close. So that's just something I really like to do. That's a real identity of what we do. Vado Damas, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Odele, my friend. Sean and Deb Wilson, good morning to both of you, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Bearded Viking said, I only can listen, not interact when I'm working, but rest assured I'm here. I love it. Thank you, Bearded Viking, so much. John Patak, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon badge. And he says, do Bitcoin? Yes, it is the tide that lifts or sinks the ship. I agree with that. And the reason why I'm thinking Ethereum too is because that's going to guide us into alt season when it's time. But I'm not a fool. We know, we've been here before. We know we were probably on the cusp of being too early a few weeks ago. But now that we've, resigned ourselves to the fact of where we're at, we're not technically, okay, we're early, but when you start to see like this, and I love that I set it up to where I can double tap it. So when I double tap it, it turns off all of those and makes it wide. When I do it like this, I can turn back on the moving average convergence, divergence, and the stochastic RSI. So hopefully you like that integration now so that it doesn't have to stay on the screen the whole time. And then we can just do this and get rid of this, So that was something that I had to work with a little bit after I redid this, because it was bothering me that it was on the screen the whole time. But looking at it from this regard, you see how oversold we are in the daily. I mean, we are massively oversold. Yes, we flip right in the moving average convergence divergence. We can obviously see a negative flow here, but it's starting to move back into that lighter, faint, reddish white. That means we could have a significant reversal here now. And now we should, and here's my opinion. It kind of feels like if we were going to have a move up, doesn't it feel like we should move up now and retest, like maybe we can say 282, but I almost think we need to come back up because we've identified this support structure. I think it would make sense to even come back up almost to $3, even if we're bearish, to clear out this RSI and do this kind of thing. So there's a possibility. Everyone thought I was crazy when I suggested the simple ABC correction. I wouldn't say everybody thought you were crazy. I've been saying this for fucking 6 months. But yeah, I remember you saying it. No, you're going to fall into the same resigned fact as I do. When I say something, I often feel crazy because I'm so far ahead of these moves. So now we look, you look past it and you get out about 6-7 months and here you are. You're into that part of the move. But we're so oversold right now in the daily. So, I mean, there's got to be some kind of correction that's going to come our way. Weekly still moving down. So we don't know if that means the correction comes back to the top side after a further move down, because we're obviously moved through the mid-tier range, which means we could be heading back towards an oversold situation in time. The monthly's kind of bouncing right now. Nothing's really changed. It's just we're getting to a point where we're getting conflictions here. Like, we're way overbought now. Isn't it crazy how overbought we got in the 4-hourly that quickly? But yeah, there's something to be said for the daily being oversold. So I think we probably have an upward correction here to start the week. If you're asking me my personal opinion, now I can't say we're going to break bullish unless we can get back 298 and start pushing into the higher formation, because 298 is a big step. And then I still think that $3.06 area, at least when you look at it from a standpoint, even though it won't show it on these charts probably anymore, that 306 or 308 to me is still a significant point. So I still think we probably will, like Scotty said, 291 is a great area to look to. That 290 or 289 to 292 zone, big resistance area that could stop us as well. But it certainly seems like if we're going to have some upward volatility, this would be a good spot to do it. This would be the spot to do it. So, yeah, I'm talking that we can have a significant drop happen prior to rate cuts, but before that happens, you're going to get some upward volatility even if it does. So, we need to, I think we're going to have some kind of upward liquidity grab right now. And we should. Nobody can make the guarantee that it's just going to bounce up, 100%. But just where we're at in the smaller time frame, you could have a bounce. Now, I'll be the first to say if we can't get over 282 and hold it, that's a problem. It'd be a big problem if we get to like 2 o'clock today, especially towards the daily close tonight, and for some reason we're still below 282, that's a problem. Or if you see us not stay above 276, that's a huge problem. So yes, I'm saying there is a chance we can bounce up, but at the same time, be very, very cautious today. Don't be using leverage. If you're looking to expand your portfolio, wait for confirmation. Another 3 to 5% if you're adding on isn't going to kill you. But it could kill you in the fact that you don't wait for that 3 to 5% and it ends up costing you a 15 to 25% drop. Like, that's the difference. Oh, absolutely, we could have a pump going into rate cuts. But generally, if we're going to get a bullish rate cut in the sense that it's not just 25 basis points and it's something significant, like let's say we get 75 or 100, and it ends up being the perfect caveat and catalyst to a risk on asset, you would generally see the continuing of a spiraling downward, clear out a lot of liquidity over the top, and then it would be a sell the rumor, buy the news event, which is what you want. You don't want to buy the news or buy the rumor, sell the news. You want to buy the rumor or sell the rumor, buy the news. So you buy the news of the rate cut when it happens, not the rumor. So we want to see remember, it was at $3.06 or all the way up to like $3.12, but we'll say conveniently $3.06 when we started talking about possible rate cuts and everybody thought it was going to pump from there. So now you're talking about we're like 16% down on XRP from when everybody thought it was just going to pump. So now even if we go up, even if we go up to $3.02 again, we have done nothing. All we've done is come back up and hit that spot we were at before the drop when we thought we were going to get rate cuts. So that's where we're at. We're in that really tedious area, but it makes perfect sense to go up here this morning. At least to clear out some of this. Well, I didn't say we don't have work to do, Scotty Trades. I'm just saying the way it sets up from a fundamental standpoint. Yeah, the charts aren't going to show it, but you need if we got 100 basis point rate cut and the obvious quantitative easing, the symptoms and the showings of it, the way the chart looks right now is not going to have much effect because it's going to take the upward route and then it's going to bust your wick off after the correction phase, which it doesn't necessarily. You can have an ABC correction, but you technically it could rework it in the corrective phase as well if we end up hitting too much accumulation and then you have too many buyers. But yeah, no, I agree with you, to be honest with you. We have a shitload of work to do. 100%. 100%. Oh, I was just trying to comment on, kind of piggyback off of what you were saying in case people were wondering. My bad. No, yeah, no. You're speaking the truth. You're speaking the truth. I love your areas, 243, and then could come up like the bottoming area. That's not a bad zone. If we can hold even down to 236, if we can hold that area, we could make a very nice bottoming. Even now, it's just like you said, the ABC correction doesn't quite speak to it doesn't quite speak to the fact that we wouldn't have a further leg down. But like you said, it also speaks to the fact right now that we should have a small correction up. Like at every point, you should have that move. Like I could see that 289 to 293 move. I mean, from a farther standpoint, if it came up to 298, I mean, do I see it coming up there? It's possible. But from where we're at, it would probably be less likely. I like that playback to 289 to 292 zone personally. But I could also see, because we're very oversold here in the daily, but we're very, very, very in a weird spot in the 4 hourly. Like that's going to, once we get up, if it did get to 289, that's going to be an interesting spot as well. There is a lot of new interest. I agree, Scotty. And there's a lot of people I've noticed in the comments that are different as well, which is nice. Very nice. Frankie Fresh got to go back to work. Oh, and Janine, if you're watching, Frankie Fresh significant other. Janine, if you're watching, I'm so blessed to have you in this audience as well. Thank you so much. If not the bearish moment for crypto. Yeah. But remember, Crypto could get a nice boost from rate cuts and still end the month bearish in September. That's why I want to see how far. That's why I would like to see a significant dive prior to the rate cuts. Because if we could get rid of some of this noise prior to it in the next couple weeks, you could, in theory, have that setup and reversal set up before the rate cut happens, and then that's how you could drive into it. That's why I don't know. We don't know anything. It's all speculative right now until we see what ends up happening. You know? But yeah, I would pay very serious attention to what Scotty Trades is saying with the ABC correction, because that seems to be what we're set in. And I know for a fact he's been talking about this for like 2 months, so... Heck, it might have even been sooner when he first started talking about it, but he put it like concrete, like this is where I think it's going to go. I know it was in July. June or July. And I do remember some of the backlash and comments, but that's why I said he's kind of on the same page with me, because we get it a lot. Nick knows that he sees it a lot because, you know, you start saying things and then people aren't having as much forward thinking. And it's always, we just want things to go up without the correction, you know. We never want to see that. Is whatever, you know, that's the major thing, but you need it. Yeah, what?
I got a voicemail. T's good. I got a voicemail from a special needs teacher about the meeting today. It made it sound like I have to go to the school to do it, and they asked if I could be there at 2.
Yeah, I'll just stay home with tea. Yeah, so I'll just be home with tea? Yeah. Okay. Oh, because they want you to show them.
Yeah, I'm gonna call.
So is T gonna be home with me then if you're up there?
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
You're gonna go up there by yourself. But he's good.
Yes, he's good.
They even said he's good?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything's good with him.
Okay, when you say voicemail, I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah. What? No. It's just about the meeting we're supposed to have.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that you knew everything.
July 17th. Yep, we always just want to keep out risk transparent. Yep, that's right. Keep our, that's right. That's right. Miss G. Stott, welcome in, and thank you so much for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Mr. G. Stott's in here as well, so Mr. and Mrs. Stott, I appreciate both of you. So trading with J-Ride, just to be transparent, rate, cut, decision. I always like everybody to be able to see this, just so... Oh, what the hell is this? Lamb Weston, oven roast something. Fed, rate. I should have just said rate decision. All right. What day does the Fed decide if we're going to have a rate cut? What do you mean turned off? Oh yeah, fine, see. Let's see. That's why I hate,
The next Federal Reserve
September
interest rate
17th.
decision will be...
So they start, it's a 2-day meeting, so it starts the 16th, and then on the 17th we'll know. So, yeah, 17th. It looks like we'll get the decision on the 17th. Let's see. Poppy Lou, good morning, and thanks for being in town for 3+ months with the XP Meteor. And be safe driving to work, my friend. Be safe driving to work. IOTA on a reversal here. I mean, some of them I'm very interested in because of where they're still at. They haven't broke down their patterns, but... You know, we're very oversold in the daily. That's the one thing here. 4 hourly has plenty of space to bounce up here. Man, oh man. I'm intrigued to see what this does. I mean, I'm not going to put the support in the micro, but we can definitely build a resistance over the top. I would almost bring this in tighter for the short term. Like this. You'll have 2 areas, one with the wick, one with the body. And I think it's actually very important to do both. Probably do the wick over the top like this as well. But if I'm looking for the short term, we're probably looking for a retest up here at like 19.28. It's not much though, because we're still set. Man, it's so fucking weird with IOTA and some of these others. They're still set up in massive inverse patterns that haven't buckled down yet. It's a tough area. So instead of focusing on like the individuals, I think I'd rather focus on like, all right, let's take a look at Bitcoin and see why Bitcoin could in fact drag the market with it if it can't do something. But as we talked over the weekend, we should get a retest somewhere around, what is this in real time? 114,574. And see if we get a first area rejection. And then if it can get back above there, then we're going to look firmly at this rising wedge follow through. And then we're going to have, oh my God, it's up at that high now. Okay, so there's some plus minus margin here for sure. Like even if we get up above here, I mean, we're going to have to make a substantial run up now. Like we put ourselves in an interesting spot here. 4 hourly is getting into that pretty oversold or overbought now. No. Would I take another stab at MXC right now? Probably not. MXC was a momentary opportunity. I'm not convinced that that's not a siphoning scheme with MXC. I just seen a moment of opportunity a few months ago where we could make substantial gains, and there's a reason why I haven't looked back at it. Especially with this volatility. Another one that gives me that same vibe is data. If we're not in a bullish scenario, I still see data where it's at right now as like a pump and dump setup. If it doesn't get through this area, that's why it makes me a little conflicted here when it comes to certain ones. Like I have no doubt about we can make substantial gains on band and data, and even if you catch MXC at the right spot. But I also have zero question they might be used as a siphoning for the bigger players. Like there's zero question because they're on the cusp. Like MXC is technically an IOT token, but it doesn't do anything over and above besides give some kind of diversity to like the application. So there's that. It's not an oracle as some of the other ones are. So if you're asking me, like if I had to go between data, MXC, I would tell you if you're trying to speculate, skip both of those and look into XYO because that's at least an oracle. Okay, that's a great question, Kawabunga. This is a question for Tom or anybody when drawing out your patterns, do you always go off the wick or are there people out there who go off the body of each? A lot of people go off the body and don't use the Japanese candlesticks. So that's why my candlesticks look different. But yeah, I like to go off of the wick for the total pattern resistance and have the body set up. So that's why you'll see a lot of times I'll sometimes have a double outline. Like I did it with XRP. I do it with a lot of them. I like to have that double outline so that I can see where the wick area is and where the body area is. So right now I only have it like this, but if you look at the other chart, it goes up more toward, oh no, it doesn't. I don't take this top wick. Right now, I do take the wicks though. I won't just stay in the body because I want to see the full maximum capacity, but it also depends what you're doing. Like as you can see, like if you're looking for just a support here, I didn't come all the way down through the lowest wicks or anything like that, but it's the way the pattern's set up. So if I'm just drawing out a total pattern, I want to see the whole wick. I want to see the whole portfolio of the play. So from a expansion standpoint of a pattern breakout or breakdown, it's wicks. If you're looking at the short-term move and you want to try to get outside to see where the technical, maybe a signal is that we could have a further move, well, then you can stick with the body, but you'll get the confirmation going through the wicks. They're substantial. Oh, it isn't a channel. XRP's in a channel now if you draw it out. But I still like to show the grandstanding setup that it's been in for some time. Like I won't just give away the pattern. You know, I won't just give it away. Even if I can, I don't. You know, I like to expand it out and try to do things that make sense too. But you can draw it a bunch of ways now. It absolutely could be in a channel. But like even if you divulge it like this and you look back and you say, okay, well, what can we do to keep this in some kind of symmetrical setup? You could even say back here in the smaller time frames, you could say it started to support here back in July 14th, hit a second support August 2nd, and now we're working on our way back down towards 259 or even further, because if you look at this setup, if it takes forever, it can bring you right into that area anyhow at the back end. So, and this would suggest, you know, it could be in this little consolidation until the end of September if you look at it like this. So it's a loaded question, my friend. It's a loaded question. What do I see performing better, Dent or Ban? I mean, if you're asking me personally, probably Ban, but it's impossible because it all depends on where you buy everything. Like, I've been very transparent with Ban. I love Ban. Yes, I love the move up, but I told everybody, like, I would not be buying it until, one, it comes down here and back test this area around 71 cents, or more than likely, I see a big scenario even where it could come down to that 58-cent area, but you got within the point of realm, I guess the point of contention here. But still, death cross, I mean, you're looking for confirmation of a further move down here if this doesn't materialize. And one of the crazy parts is when we should have got a big volume flip in the market, we haven't got that. And in fact, we can see how quickly we're flipping way back up. So, oh, awesome, Scotty Trades. I'll have to, yeah, share them for sure. I love seeing what you talk about in the lives, and then I get to see them in the Telegram. That is such a good point of a great part of the Telegram. But I think we see 366 XRP at the end of September. Maybe, because if we take the upward route, I have no doubt we'll head up towards 380 once we finally get through all of this consolidation. But there's a lot of stuff to happen between then and now. Poly's, I mean, after such a big break, you know, I know some of you see that in the weekly, and now the thing that everybody needs to understand, and you might get a better point of this through gold and silver, when it's overbought, that's not actually a bad thing if volume's coming in. If you have volume coming in and you're overbought, it's actually a good thing. You stay in a very parabolic zone for a while, and a lot of times it'll stay in that area. And then it'll bounce down on the support of overbought, but that's what ends up happening a lot. So, Poly, though, it's gotten way out of here. You know, and we're going to see if the further market brings it back down, but it's not going to be able to sustain on its own. I can tell you that. I know that it's got a nice flag set up here. And if the market gives us the support today, we could be seeing 31 cents. So, but this has been a very long standing. I'm hoping in some senses, maybe this is front running the market. Like, it's come up from 19, 20 cents here now in the past couple of months. And, you know, I that's one that I like, but we got a lot of work to do in this market still. It's nice though coming on and being like, yeah, I think we're probably going to go up today. Like, we've been going down. And we're overdue. That 290 range is absolutely where it's probably going to go up to. If we get an overzealous run up, look for 298 on a very overzealous wick. And then we'll see from there. If someone wanted to buy, to get in on XRP now, when should they buy? Ooh, that's tough. Because where you're at right now, buying it up here, yes, you could have that outlier to move out. But, I mean, it's in a lot higher than it was when I was comfortable. I was comfortable buying XRP sub 50, sub 40. I used to tell everybody under $1 is a safer bet. Anything over $1. Especially near $3, you could find yourselves down 30% down quickly if it did take the bearish route. So, I mean, that's a personal decision. I personally I don't like XRP here. I like other opportunities that I can look at. Like, I always tell my audience, look at IOTA if you have the ability. Look at Algo. You know, look at a few others like XDC. And, you know, just others that are on the same scale but haven't made the move. You know, but have significant roles. Like for IOTA, it's with the Internet of Things. It's like a mainframe. Not like, it is a mainframe token. I'm IOTA. XDC is the R3 corridor, you know, the Corda. And you've got like Algo, it's significant in other countries. But yeah, it just depends on, exactly like Bearded said, it depends on your goals. Like, I'm not a financial advisor, and at the end of the day, this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm honored to see some of you decided to subscribe in the last, like we were stuck at 45,500 for a couple of months in that range, up and down. Now all of a sudden we had a little bit of a break during the last few days. We're up to 46,400 subscribers, which is awesome to see. I could tell we were on the verge of a little bit of a move. But the only thing that sucks is a lot of people that message me that subscribe, they'll send me a message, whether in the comments or personally for whatever reason. Be like, I'm not going to watch you now, but I'll watch you either if it breaks down, if it breaks out, or whatever. But it just, they put it on this contingency, like I'll follow, but it has to do something out of the ordinary for me to, actually come back and watch, which is fine. But I would honestly, if you're buying XRP, I would want to know that it's breaking out of this formation at 298 and starting to push up, or that it came down to either that 250 to 236 range, because we don't know. And then, better yet, I would want to, if it was me, I don't know. Because what if you buy it at 250 and it breaks through, or 236 and it goes right to 187 or 195? But yeah. I mean, if you're going to split hairs between, if it's going to come to the 250 or 236 area, 243 is a great spot in between. But as far as buying, that's going to be up to your own level of understanding, to be honest. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough right now. But I mean, you can absolutely start to look at this and be like, okay, I mean, we're in a much wider area now, and I'm trying to keep it in the micro as much as I have it in the macro as well, because we're in a bigger macro perspective, obviously. That gets us up to possibly 638, 549 with pretty sincere confidence, assuming this doesn't break down. But it's just basically taking the standard operating procedure. So like 250 stayed on there. I don't change that, because until that does something and reacts to that area, it's still very important to me. I should have 236 up there as well. You could have 240. I'm trying not to have so many areas. Just the main standpoints of where I think we could have that artificial movement. But right now, look at that 290, 289 to 292 area if we come up. It's going to be a very big trap area. It could extend out to 298. But, we don't know. We have a lot of built up tension from over the holiday weekend as well. If you look at silver and gold, it's spectacular. Miners, they didn't open up all that great. A lot of people take when it opens up the way it did and they cash out right away. So this is the beauty of miners. Like, it's not necessarily gonna do things like you think on the open all the time, and it's like that a lot. People, once it's up, they automatically sell out. Like, they see it up and they're like, I'm taking that. I'm taking that. The market open, I'm taking it. You've seen it right on the open. It opened immediately at like 424, and then because of the sellers, it went down to 408 for B2 Gold right away. Because the sellers often, they will overwhelm the market in the beginning. And then you get to noon, 1 o'clock, and you're like, holy crap. So we'll see how this continues. Silver's obviously at $40.50, which is huge. Gold's approaching $3,500 for the first time in its history. So just continue to expect that. I'm going to get going here in a minute. I want to go make sure everything's good. I want to go make sure what we need to do for our son, because Julie's got to, we have a lot of stuff going on today. I look forward to seeing everybody at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time approximately for the live. I also will probably do a short sometime today for Ethereum and try to do this XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum short separated. And then we can tie it all in during the lives when you see the deeper part of all of these patterns. And we talked about Bitcoin, we talked about XRP, but now let's talk about Ethereum. As far as the breakdown we talked about over the weekend, we should have a retest of it. If it were to come all the way up 4,742, if it makes it all the way back up. And then you could look at, even if it had a dropout, maybe 4,166 in the midterm. But that's if it made it all the way back up there. I don't know, because you could argue that it's just going to make it back up here. It could get stopped short of it. So we'll take a deeper look at this later. But I'm going to